Hmm? Not required. No, this side is that. Is that. One side is that. It's a even light is there. Okay, I think we'll start. I'll record and then. Oh. वागर्ताविव सम्पृक्तौ वागर्तप्रतिपत्तये जगतः पितरौ वन्दे पार्वती परमेश्वरौ प्रपञ्चसृष्टिन्मुखलास्य कायै समस्तसंहारकताण्डवाय जगज्जनन्यै जगदेकपित्रे नमः शिवायै च नमः शिवाय वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनम् देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां हरिः ओम्। त्रयीवेद्यं हृद्यं त्रिपुरहरमाद्यं त्रिनयनं जटाभारोदारं जलदुरगहारं मृगधरं महादेवं देवं मयि सदयभावं पशुपतिं चिदालम्बं साम्बं शिवमतिविडम्बं हृदि भजे सहस्रं वर्तन्ते जगति विबुधाः क्षुद्रफलदाः न मन्ये स्वप्ने वा तदनुसरणं तत्कृतफलम् हरिब्रह्मादीनामपि निकटपाचामसुलभम् चिरं याचे शम्भो शिव तव पदाम्बोजभजनम् स्मृतौ शास्त्रे वैद्ये शकुनगविता गानपनितौ पुराणे मन्त्रे वा स्तुतिनटनहास्येष्वचतुरः कथं राज्ञां प्रीतिर्भवति मयि कोऽहं पशुपते पशुं मां सर्वज्ञप्रथित कृपया पालय विभो घटो वा मृत्पिण्डो यद्यपि च धूमोऽग्निरचलः पटो वा तन्तुर्वा परिहरति किं घोरशमनम् वृताखण्डक्षोभं वहसि तरसा तर्कवचसा पदाम्बोजं शम्भोर्भज परमसौख्यं व्रजसुधीः मनस्ते पादाब्जे निवसतु वचस्तोत्रपणितौ करौ चाभ्यर्चायां श्रुतिरपि कथा कर्णनविधौ तव ध्याने बुद्धिर्नयनयुगलं मूर्तिविभवे परग्रन्थान् कैर्वा परमशिवजाने परमतः यथा बुद्धिसुप्तौ रजतमिति काचाश्मनिमुनिः जयपैष्टे क्षीरं भवति मृगतृष्णासु सलिलं तथा देवभ्रान्त्या भजति भवधन्यं जडजनो महादेवेशं त्वां मनसि च न मत्वा पशुपते। So we have seen 8 shlokas so far. Shankaracharya people generally say he is a very intellectual sort of arguments and so on. But Shankaracharya also has been quite deep in bhakti. And this is a very good text which extols bhakti. And a counterpart to this is Saundarya Lahari. So these two are really very good in terms of extolling bhakti in a big way. Also, as we have seen, For example, Gatova Mritpindo Pyanirpadhumo Nirachalaha. If you look at that shloka, our last week we saw Yata Buddhi Suktau Rajatamiti Kachash Mani Mani, the 8th shloka which we saw. See what Shankaracharya does, of course, his main purpose is bhakti. So anyway, he brings the various elements of bhakti, but he also uses these stotras to bring several other concepts. For example, that Gato and Mritpindo are Karya Karana. We talked about it. So he also brings the other concepts, which are also incidentally he is bringing into the discussion, although the main purpose is bhakti. The very purpose of Shivananda Lahari is to say how bhakti is very important for us and how we need to exercise this feeling called bhakti. So that is the main purpose. So last week we saw this Yatha Buddhi Shaktau Rajatamiti Kachash Mani Manihi. It's a very profound concept. In Chatussutri, Shankaracharya, when he wrote his Bhashya for Brahma Sutra, which is 580 sutras. So he wrote a preamble and he wrote a commentary only for the first 4 initially, Chatussutri. In fact, so when he wrote that, he wrote a preamble for it. He said, Asmad Yushmad Pratyaya Gocharayo Vishaya Vishayino Tamaprakashavat Viruddha Subhavayo, like that it starts. Essentially, normally when all these acharyas, when they do a shloka or a grantha or a prakarana grantha, the Mangalacharana is always some prayer to the Ganesha, Krishna, Shiva, whatever. That is how they normally do. Whereas in Chatussutri, the first one, which is normally called the Mangalacharana, is not about any god. It is about a fundamental psychological principle. Very deep concept. In fact, the Chatussutri, for which Abhinav Gupta wrote what is called Bhamati. And hundreds of people have written detailed commentaries. In fact, for those 4 sutras, I have a 700-page book. Chinmaya International Foundation brought out a 700-page commentary on Chatussutri. Because there are some. So this Asmad Yushmat Pratyaya Gocharayo. What he says is there is some. Gochara means the target or the destination. Asmad, I. So there is a destination for I. Sit on. There's a destination for I. When you say I, it has a destination. It's called Asmad Pratyaya Gochara. Similarly, when you say you, Y-O-U, there is a destination to it. There is a Gochara, Yushmad Gochara. So what Shankaracharya said there is Asmad Yushmad Pratyaya Gocharayoho Vishaya Vishayinoho. What he says is this destination called I and the destination for an item called you, which means the world of things which denote you, and whatever is the world of things which denote I. So Asmad Yushmat Pratyaya Gocharayoho Vishaya Vishayinoho. The you is the Vishaya, the I is the Vishayi. The knower is the I, the known. In chapter 13 of Bhagavad Gita, we have what is called Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga. Right? Idam Sariram Kaunteya Kshetramit Abhidiyate. Kshetrajyam Abhimam Vidhi Sarva Kshetreshu Bharata. So this Kshetra and Kshetrajna are 2 different things. Vishaya Vishayinoho. So Viruddha Swabhavayoho. What you call it as I, the set called I and the set called you, he says, are completely in Viruddha Swabhava. They are always in conflict. All those ideas are in this Gata and Mritpinda. There is a Karana and there is a Karya. Those kinds of concepts are there. What you called as I is different from what is called you. I is called Kshetrajna in Bhagavad Gita terms. The you is called Kshetram. Kshetram is very different from Kshetrajna. And they don't even, and in that first preamble in that Chatussutri, he says, somebody say, I am tall. He brings a concept called Adhyasa. We always superimpose wrong things at wrong. thing. The eye is neither short nor tall. The eye is neither fair nor dark. The eye is not stout. The stoutness, the tallness, the shortness belong to the body. It doesn't belong to that eye. In fact, they are all yushmad, not asmad. Like that, he goes on. So all these concepts are available even in these shlokas. So what I'm saying, the yata, buddhi suktau will actually bring that concept of mithya. That I think this body is me is a mithya. The body will go after a while. The I will never go. That's what in Bhagavad Gita also he says. Abhyaktani sa bhutani vyakta madhyeshu bharata. Abhyakta nidananyeva. So in between something will come and go. That is not permanent. What is permanent is something which doesn't change. So here, that shell temporarily looks like silver. So the silver property is very temporary. What is permanent is the shell. Similarly, the rope is permanent. The snake is temporary. So that concept is what he is bringing in this shloka. So in addition to bhakti, he also utilizes the opportunity to also bring the other concepts of life, other concepts which are very important for us. All those are part of this, Shivananda Lahari. So it is not only bhakti, so many other concepts are being told. Anyway, we saw this shloka last time, Yata Buddhi Shaktau Rajatamiti Kachash Manimani. We always wrongly understand, wrongly map. And in the same way, Shankaracharya says that our notion of God and godliness must also be properly understood. Otherwise, we will be wrongly mapping. Bhakti has to be done to that ultimate, which is the Paramatma. So I think that's a concept he brought. Then he moves on. We'll see 2 shlokas today. We'll see this is a very beautiful sloka. I have quoted it many times in the past. Gabire kasare vishati vijane kora vipine vishale shaile cha pramati kusumartam jadamatihi samarpyaikam chetasarasijam umanata bhavate sukena vastatum jana iha na janati kimaho. Basically, in this shloka, Shankaracharya is talking about offering a pushpa. So, what is an integral element of bhakti? Puja is an integral element of bhakti. An element of bhakti is we do puja. So, when we do puja, the archanam, in the Navavida Bhakti, archanam is also one of them, as Prahlada said in Srimad Bhagavatam. So, we normally do an archana, for which we use pushpa. And when we do the archana, we always say Namaha. Right? In fact, the earliest reference to this archana is in Veda, in Yajurveda, in what is called Rudram. Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya Namaha, only it starts. Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya, like that's how it starts. And there are 300 Namaha in Rudram alone. Namah Shambhave cha Mayovave cha Namah Shankaraya cha Mayaskaraya cha Namah Shivaya cha Shivataraya cha. 300 of them are there. That's why it's called Rudra Trishati. So the idea of Namaha as a mechanism to do Archana is as old as Vedas. And that's why Rudram is called Namakam. That is simply saying Namaha, Namaha, Namaha. So it is called Namakam, not people also call it as Namakam. And then, of course, there is a Chamakam. Chame, 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 it comes. That's why it is called Chamakam. So the Namakam and Chamakam. So this Namaha is basically the idea of offering a pushpa with the Bhagavan Nama. We say, Keshavaya Nama, Narayana Nama, Madhavaya Nama, Govindaya Nama, Vishnavaya Nama, Madhusudana Nama. We always say Namaha, Namaha and offer a pushpa. Right? That Namaha actually has a meaning, a certain implication. It is na maha, basically. Na mama, basically na mama. The idea is that the very idea of bhakti is to give up our existential reality and merge ourselves to the Lord. That is the very idea of bhakti. So that's why Namaha is indicated there to say, it is not mine, I offer it to you. That's what they do. So when we are saying bhakti, then Archanam is a very existential element of bhakti. And when we do Archana, we always, every mantra ends with whomever we do. Bhavaya Devaya Namaha, Ishanaya Devaya Namaha, Pashupate Devaya Namaha. Whatever you say, always say Namaha. It always ends with Namaha. The very idea there is to offer. Now the question is, what can we offer? This is the question now. We normally offer Pushpam. Basically, I was just listening to some other lecture, so I really liked it. That's why I wanted to share this with you. See, the whole world of whatever we have is created by the Lord. Science cannot create anything. Science can only recreate. Whatever is there, you can take and mix and match and do an R&D. I do not know whether, other than the Lord, anybody has created anything here. Whatever you have here are all coming from what Lord gave. It came from the Panchabhutas only. The Lord created Panchabhutas. Out of the Panchabhutas, the minerals came, the elements came. Everything was Lord's creation. So therefore, the question is, what are you going to offer now? And there is no big charm taking what he has and then giving it to him. Shankaracharya, in fact, there is a very beautiful 21st sloka. Bhavatu bhavatartam mama manaha. There is one sloka. He says, I'll give you something which you don't have. Like that one sloka will come there in Shivananda Lahari. He says that, he says, Karadre Hemadrav, Akila, in the pada of Shankaracharya, the Akila Shubha is there. Okay, we'll give him an AC, but, there's an AC in his head. That's what he says. Shiraste Shitamso, the moon is there. So like that, in a jovial way, that shloka goes. Then he says, Kamartam dasyeham. What can I give you? Bhavatu bhavatartam mama mana. My mind will never be with you. My manas is exclusively mine. You will not have it, therefore I will give it to you. So like that, in another place, he is saying like that. The point here is, what do we offer? And how do we offer? This is the most important thing. So to bring that concept, this is one of the shlokas. The Bhavatu Bhavatartha Pavamana is another shloka, 21st shloka. But in this shloka, he talks about offering a pushpa, which we normally do. So if there is a puja, what we do, we make an elaborate arrangement. We go to KR market somewhere, get some different varieties of flowers, 5 kgs, 10 kgs. We want to really do a very grand puja and all that. So Shankaracharya has taken that concept and he wants to bring a certain idea about this whole spirit of this offering pushpa with this shloka. So that's where this shloka is coming. So let us see what this shloka is saying. It says, we'll do there isn't padacheda, but we'll do some little bit of this thing. It says, first line, there is a verb vishati. So let us take that verb, vishati. Vishati means enters. That's why visa. Visa, you need to enter. Wish is to enter. That's why you need visa to enter actually to a country. The English word came only from here. Pravesh, wish, vishaya, all those means enter. So vishati. Vishati means he enters. Somebody enters. The question is, where is this person entering? That's a question that will come. The moment you take a verb, you can ask these questions. It says, Gabire kasare vishati. Gabire is very deep. Very, the depth is more. Kasara. Kasara is that, pond or, that kind of a thing. So this person is entering deep into the pond because, you got nice lotus. Which normally the lily and the lotus are in the pond. So he says, Gabire kashare vishati. This person really goes into the deepest pockets of the lake and he wants to bring a lotus. Okay? Gabire kasare vishati. Gora vipine. Vijane gora vipine. Vijane. Vi means without. The upasarga vi means without. Vijane, without jana. Where we don't find people in deep forest, people are not there. It is so dense, you can't even reach that place. So, Gora Vipine. Gora is very Payanaka. Very deep in the forest, you can't even access places. It is so deep, there's no way to even go. So dense, we can't even reach. So, this person is going there. Gora Vipine Vijane. Obviously Vijane, without Jana. There are nobody there. There is nobody going there. He goes to that place. So Vishati is for that also. So Gabire Kasare Vishati. Vijane Gora Vipine Cha Vishati. See, he enters into all these far-flung places. Nobody is going to these places. I will go there and go in search of flowers. There may be some nice flowers in the deep forest. Very nice flowers may be there. So that is the first line. Then, Vishale Shaile Cha. Broad, Shaila is a mountain. So some broad mountains, because there are some special flowers. This Kurinji flower in Kodaikanal, which blossoms once in 12 years. So you can go to the mountain top, find some unique flowers, which we will normally not see. And these flowers in the mountains also are very strong in their fragrance. Some color combinations are very unique colors. You don't see it in the normal, in the Nagara, we don't see. If you go to this vegetation itself is very different. No? When you go at a higher altitude, the vegetation itself is very different. So, Vishale Shailecha Brahmati. There is another verb, Brahmati. Brahmati means Atati. He is loitering here and there looking for something. It is not a shop where you can go straight away. You can go to a flower shop. You will have, different flowers. You give me half kg of this, rose kodappa, adu kodappa, adella helbodu. Whereas here it is not like that. You have to really go and search. It is not available in one place. So he says Brahmati. Vishale Shaile Cha Brahmati Kusumartham. That Kusumartham, why is he going here and there? Why is he entering into Gabire Kasare Gora Vipine? Kusumartham. Kusuma is flower. So for the sake of fetching a good flower, this person is going all over the place. So Shankaracharya gives a few examples. The point that is being made here is this particular person is making all-out effort to get some unique flowers. Good enough. Not a bad idea. Why not? We can get some good flowers. Nothing wrong. But that's what he says. Kusumartham. Then he says Jadamatihi. This fellow is a dull head. Jadamati. He uses the word Jadamatihi. See, this person does not seem to think very well, according to Shankaracharya. He is really making so much effort. If you go to the mountain top, it is an effort. You have to look for a lotus pond, which may be 100 kilometers away from Bangalore. You have to make enormous effort to go and fetch those flowers. So therefore, he uses the word Jadamatihi. He is such a dull-head fellow. He is going all over the place, really making enormous effort, running around and looking for flowers all over the place where people cannot even go. Gora Vipine Vijane. All that he says. Kusumartham Jadamatihi. Then he says, Samarpya. Samarpya Ekam, Samarpyaikam. That is in the Sandhi. Samarpya. Samarpya means having offered. In Sanskrit, there are different. This is called, Twanta Prayoga. Okay. In Sanskrit, if you put twa to the verb, it means having. Gatwa means having gone. Patitwa, having studied. Bhuktva, having eaten. Snatva, having taken bath. So it's called Twanta Prayoga. Twa. But if you have upasarga before the verb, there is upasarga sam. Here the verb is arpayati, arpya. If it is just arpya, we would have said arpayitva. It will be Twanta Prayoga. But if a upasarga is there in Sanskrit, twa will be replaced by ya. That's why samarpya is coming. Sam is upasarga, arpa is the verb. So samarpya. Samarpayitva, it won't come. Samarpya. Gatva, agatya. Because a is a visarga. To gam, gach, go. If you put a, pratyagatya, pratyagatva, you should not say. So it is called Twanta Prayoga. One twist there is, if there is a visarga, the twa will become ya. So samarpya. That's why the samarpya is coming. Samyak arpya. Offered with a lot of shraddha and bhakti. That is the meaning. Samyak means, very well means what? It's shraddha and bhakti. Samarpya, ekam. One flower. You don't have to go around looking for so many flowers. One flower, ekam. Chetasarasijam. There is this Hridaya Kamala. There is this Hridaya Kamala. Why he is not offering the Hridaya Kamala? There is one Hridaya Kamala he has. Why not he give? That's what he says. Chetasarasijam, he Umanatha, bhavate, to you. Puja is all about offering flowers. But this person is going all over the place looking for flowers. He does not understand he has a Hridaya Kamala. He can just offer it to you. That's why Jadamatihi. That's why he says Jadamatihi. So, Umanatha bhavate, Sukena avastatum. Sukena avastatum. That's also in Sandhi. Sukena avastatum. Avastha means to remain. Stay put. Sukena avastatum. It is much easier. You offer this Hridaya Kamala and then you finish the puja instead of you going all over the place. Jana na janati. Iha Sukena avastha. Iha can be used for Sukena iha avastatum. One can be very comfortable, very peaceful, very involved in the bhakti by just offering the Hridaya Kamala. They can be like that now and here. Jana na janati. People, janaha na jananti. Unfortunately, people don't know. Kim aho? Aho means alas. It is an exclamation. Ayyo, idu gothillilva avarku enta heltarthane. In Kannada they say like that. Idu kuda avarku theriyala. In Tamil also they say like that. So, kim aho? What a pity. This person does not know that he has a Hridaya Kamala. You can just take it and offer it to the Lord. Instead of that, he is going Gabire, Kasare, Vishati Vijane, Gora Vipane, Vishale, Shaileche, going all over the place. This is the Stula Artha. This is the Artha, we can take it from the Shloka. But there are a lot of deeper meaning in this. See, there are a few things which we need to understand. First thing is, what is this Hridaya Kamala? The Hridaya Kamala is nothing but our manas. See, in common parlance, we are saying, now manasalli irbeku. When we do some work, our mind must be there. If the mind is elsewhere, that job is used, that job will not be good. If my mind is not committed in what I am doing, whether a student is studying a lesson, somebody is doing a puja, somebody is cooking a food, or somebody is writing a piece of letter, or whatever it is, the manas must be committed to the task. If the manas is not committed to the task will not be good. It will not be done very well. So when he says Chetasarasijam Umanatha Bhavate, the first thing that Shankaracharya is saying that your manas must be totally committed to the act of bhakti. Because what happens, there are people who bring a lot of, they spend some 5,000, 10,000 rupees, bring all kinds of flowers. But in the puja, they are all the time distracted. They constantly find fault is something, they are looking here, looking there. Murti is here, Abhisheka alli nadita ide. Gavana alli illa. They are not looking at here. What is the use of that? What is the use of bringing all these flowers from all over the place? So, Chetasarasijam Umanatha Bhavate, essentially the first message Shankaracharya says is, in the act of bhakti, the most important thing is your manas. Commit your manas. If you don't commit your manas, that job is, your bhakti is fretted away. It is wasted. It's going to be a waste. It is not of any great help. This is number one. Number two, manas, the biggest, why do you want to do bhakti? Because chanchalam hi manak Krishna pramati balavadridam tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkaram. This manas is so sanchala. The very idea of bhakti is to actually bring the manas into control. You want to know how to control the manas? Bhakti is a very good method. That 1 hour, 2 hours, we sit, do a parayana, do an archana, we do an alankara. Whatever we do, at least at that point in time, we will be focused into that Bhagavad Chintanam. And that practice, that small little practice, we do 1 hour like that, that idea of trying to commit the mind at one place is a huge positive for us. So that is the very idea of the bhakti and the puja and all the nitya karma anushtana are meant only for that. Nitya karma anushtana is meant for a mechanism by which we are able to gather our mind and train it to the habit of looking at something. So that is the second important thing that we need to understand from this concept of what is called Chetasarasijam. The third thing that we also need to understand is our peace of mind, our sense of satisfaction, our sense of fulfillment is a function of our ability to keep the mind at one place. We don't have to go too far. Every day we have 4 hours of what is called sushupti, deep sleep. What happens in deep sleep? The mind is destroyed. The stula sharira is destroyed meaning non-existent. The stula sharira is not there. The sukshma sharira is not there. At least in sopna, sukshma sharira is there. Manas is playing out in sopna. Whereas in sushupti, nothing. Everything is switched off. That is the only reason why the greatest thing that can happen to us, the greatest source of joy for us is a good sleep. In fact, when things are so difficult for us to manage, so boring, we are so distracted, so bothered, best thing is to sleep. That's why psychologists, psychiatrists also give only some sleeping pills to cool down people. So what is this saying? It is saying at times where we are able to gather the mind and make it stay in present. When mind stays in present, mind doesn't exist. Sankalpa vikalpamanam manaha, that is the definition. In other words, only when you thought about what happened yesterday, why did it happen? Why did it happen today morning? Why did he did not help me? All these are about the past. Or, lot of dreams about the future. I am going to do this. This is going to happen. I will win this. I will get this. That is future. That is sankalpa. This is vikalpa. Sankalpa vikalpamanam manaha. That is the definition. If the mind is in the past, only when we are dabbling in past or future, mind is there. If we are in the present, mind is not there. So the idea of bhakti is to commit ourselves to the present. If we commit ourselves to the present, the mind does not exist. That means that will be a fulfilling experience, just like the deep sleep. That's why when we get up after sleep, we are full of energy, no? It's like, charging the battery for cell for 1 hour, it gets 100%. In the same way, when we have this sleep where we keep mind away, we are very charged. We feel the true happiness. That's why that happiness of Sushupti is unparalleled. Although we recollect it in the past, we did not experience it while we were awake. Only in Samadhi, that's the difference between Sushupti and Samadhi. Samadhi will experience it when we are awake. In Sushupti, we would have experienced it but recollect it. Pratyabhijna, that is called Pratyabhijna. Later the thought comes. So that is another reason why he says Chetas Sarasijam Umanatha Bhavate. So the mind has to be committed, mind has to be kept in a place, mind has to be gathered and fixed. So the very purpose of bhakti is to train this mind, develop that practice in us so that slowly that idea can spill into other things. Life can become a lot more, manageable for us. So that's why he uses Chetas Sarasijam Umanatha Bhakti. One last thing before we go further. Now we can ask, then are you telling me all these flowers are not required? This is another question that will come. Well, very easily people start interpreting it all these. Patram pushpam palam toyam. Yome bhaktya prayachati. That's what Krishna says in 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Lot of people very conveniently interpret it. What they say? Hey, nothing is required. Bring some water. We just throw some water. Or bring some leaf. Just throw it. That is not the idea there. The same way, when he says, Gabire kasare vishati vijane gora vipine vishale shaile cha brahmati kusumartam jaramati, it doesn't mean stop bringing flowers. It doesn't mean that. It means something else. So I want to tell something from Laukika, then we'll understand this. See, let us say there is this son or daughter in our house. And so the son or daughter has got a great award or something like that. It's a happy occasion, right? Now, so the parents will want to really celebrate it. So they will arrange a very nice kind of, we call the near and dear well-wishers, all of them. It's a happy occasion. Have a good food or some party, you make all arrangements and so on. When all those are done, with all that, that daughter or for the son, there is something that the father or the mother or both of them have something for the child. That is what they value the most. Without that, that's not complete. I mean, it's a very intricate experience. It cannot be explained in so many ways. It is a very intricate experience. However much you do all that, it is that, for example, mother may give something that is the most valuable. They might have given so many gifts. They don't matter. The father or mother would have given something and you feel very good about it and you cherish it. So what does it mean? Because if that is most important, it doesn't mean all these are not important. All these are okay, but this is the crux of the whole thing. In the same way, here, bring different flowers. You do all that. But bringing all the flowers, if you don't commit your Chetas Sarasijam, then it doesn't really fructify into anything. So therefore, we have to make a elaborate arrangement flowers. But the most important thing in all these, without which it is not complete, is committing our mind. We are part of this whole activity, whether it is a Guru Puja, whether it is a Puja and a Krishna Janmashtami or a Puja and a Shivaratri, whatever it is. That committing is the last and the most important thing which cannot be taken out. So we have all that. So in no stage of imagination, we should understand it. We don't need flowers, we don't need this, we don't need that. It doesn't mean it. It only means when all those are there, finally, it is like all of them are zeros. You need a one to get a value. That one is here. So like that. So that's what says. So in other words, through this shloka, Shankaracharya clearly indicates that without the manas, bhakti is not going to really go anywhere. That's the most important thing which he brings through this shloka. Then he goes on. Naratvam devatvam nagavana mrigatvam mashakata pashutvam kitatvam bhavatu vihagatwadi jananam sada tvat padabhya smarana paramananda lahari vihara saktam chet hridayamiha kim tena vapusha. In that sandhi chet hridaya will become dhr because da is followed after khara. So it is a vyakarana. So it's a chedridayamiha kimtena vapusha. Naratvam, devatvam, nagavana mrigatvam mashakata, pashutvam kitatvam bhavatu, vihagatwadi jananam. So in the first two lines, he enumerates several different possibilities. Jantunam narajanmam durlabha. That is what they say. And in Vega Chudamani also, what does he say at the very beginning? He says, Durlabham trayimetat, Daivanugraha karanam. That's how Shankaracharya starts his Viveka Chudamani. He says three things are very difficult. Durlabham trayimetat, Daivanugraha karanam. Manushyatvam, Mumukshutvam, Mahapurusha samshayah. To be born as a human being, and after having born as a human being, having that desire to liberate, mumukshutva. That's the second condition. Third is Mahapurusha samshayah. Satsanga, good satsanga is required because that's a catalyst. Otherwise, this evolution does not happen. Satsanga is very, very important. It's like a catalyst in a chemical reaction. A guru and a satsanga are catalysts for our self-evolution. All that they are saying, still the same Shankaracharya is saying something else here. So what is he saying? Naratvam. One can be a human being. One could have taken the birth of being a human being. That's a naratva. Right? Devatvam. Or one can be a deva. That's the second thing he is talking. Devatvam. Naga, Vana, Mrigatvam. Naga is mountain. Vana is forest. Mriga is animals. So, our one may, in the God scheme of things, in the Sakala Jiva Rashi, there are so many things. Human being is one, Devas is another. The third is Nagavana Mrigas. Different types of, wild animals and insects. So many are there. We are not even aware how many are there in mountains and in forest. Nagavana Mrigatvam. Mashakata. Mashaka is mosquito. So that words are all coming from here only. MOSQ comes from Mashaka. Mask. Mosquito. Actually, Mashakata is mosquito. So mosquito is also there. Pashutvam. Pashu is something which cannot think on its own. An animal which cannot think on its own, which requires a pati. Pashupati is required to take care of that animal. We use Pashu for cow also. We normally use Pashu for cow also. What it means is animals which are all dependent on their ejamanas. Pashutvam, Kitatvam, worms. In God's creation, so many things are there. Kitatvam bhavatu. Vihagatwadi jananam, the aerial movement, birds, the bird kingdom. These are all the animal kingdom, insects, everything is included here. Mosquitoes and worms are all small insects and those kinds of things. Then you have Nagavana Mrigatvam, which are all the animal kingdom. Then you have the human beings, then the devas, then the birds. Vihagatwadi jananam. So he says, one's birth can be anywhere. They're all God's creation. Maybe in our mind, we may have this, the biggest problem, the biggest difference between a Brahma Bhava and a realized soul and not a realized soul is Veda Bhava and Aikya Bhava. These are the two different. Again, they are Paraspara Viruddha Subhava. It's like light and darkness. Those who have this sense of Veda will never have the sense of Aikya. Those who have a sense of Aikya will never have Veda. These two are not continuum. They are 0, 1. One is 0 and it is all binary. It is not continuum. Either we have Veda Bhava or we have Aikya Bhava. Somebody who has an Aikya Bhava is a realized soul. And Sakshat Brahman has only Aikya Bhava. So in Brahman scheme of things, all are same. That's why he puts all these examples. He says it will be anything. It can be a human being, it can be a deva, it can be an animal which is in the mountains and the deep forest and so on. It can be a mosquito, a worm, right? Or a bird, aerial creature, whatever it is. The Jananam can be anything. That is the first two lines. So what is then being told? It doesn't matter what these are. What is important is Sada Tvat Pada Abja Smarana Paramananda Lahari. It's a single word. It's a samasa. There are 5, 6 words which are all gone together. It's a compound word. Lahari. Lahari is the wave. Ananda Lahari, the wave of ecstasy. Okay. Paramananda Lahari, the ultimate wave of ecstasy. Happiness of the highest order. So 3 words have been added already. Lahari, Ananda Lahari, Paramahananda Lahari. Okay. Then it says, where from this happiness is coming? Through Smarana. So Smarana Paramahananda Lahari, that is another word. See, there is the way samasa is done in Sanskrit. Samastapada, compound word, is what in today's computer scientists use what is called recursive logic. There is one do loop. It keeps on. So same method Panini has given. He says, tell me what are all the words to be included. He'll put it in a set and then use a do loop and keep on adding one more the other. Finally, you will get. Okay. Samasta padas come like that. Right? Nana Chitra Gadodarastita Mahadeepa Prabhabhaswaram is a single word in Dakshinamurti Stotra. It says Nana Chidra. Chidra is pierced. Nana Chidra is pierced with many places. Okay, Nana Chitra Gata. So there is a part which is pierced with so many holes. Nana Chitra Gata. Nana Chitra Gatasya Udaraha, the belly of the pot, which is pierced with so many holes. Nana Chitra Gadodara Stita. There is something placed there. What is placed? Deepa. Mahadeepa Prabha, the light coming out of the. Look at how beautifully he conveys. What he says is, imagine a pot. The pot has 5 holes. There are 5 holes in the pot. And you have put one light inside. When you put one lamp inside, that lamp, the light will escape through those 5 holes. In a dark room, you put it, you will find those 5 holes in there. Right? What is Shankaracharya saying? The light is the Atman inside. This is the pot. The 5 holes are the five Indriyas. So that is what is coming in that shloka. Nana Chitra Gadodara Sthita Mahadeepa Prabha Bhaswaram. One who is radiating a light through a pot, in whose belly that light is there, and it is radiating through the 5 Karmendriyas and the Jnanendriyas. So that is also Samasta Pada. In the same way, this is a Samasta Pada. You just have to add all the words and make a meaning out of it. So Lahari, Ananda Lahari, Paramananda Lahari, Smarana Pada Paramananda Lahari. What was remembered? Abja. Abja means one which is, lotus is called Abja. That which comes in the water. Apsu Jayate iti Abja. It is in the water, no? In the mud and the water. So Abja. Pada Abja. The Pada Kamala. Right? Tvat Pada Abja. So finally what it is saying, and Sada. Somebody who is always getting that infinite joy of remembering your Padaravinda. Kararavinde, Enapadaravinda, Mukaravinde, Viniveshayantam. Like that, that is a beautiful shloka, Balabugunda Ashtakam. The Kararavinda, Mukaravinda, Padaravinda. So if somebody who can all the time remember that Padaravindas, then that person will get enormous joy. Paramananda Lahari, coming out of that, remembering the Lord's feet all the time. Sada Tvat Padabjasmarana Paramananda Lahari Vihara Saktam Chet. If somebody is able to experience that feeling that all the time my mind is focused on the Padaravinda, your Padaravinda, right? Hridayam Iha, in their heart, they are all the time thinking about this. Then Shankaracharya says, how does it matter what kind of a creature it is? Whether it is a human being, whether it is a cow, whether it is a... So the point is, we don't know whether they have consciousness. We only know about our consciousness. But our Purana is full of stories. Look at our Purana is full of stories to show that it is not only we have that consciousness and bhakti. In God's scheme of things, every Jiva Rashi has bhakti. We may not be aware of it. Look at the Gajendra Moksham, which you see in Srimad Bhagavatam. The Pandi Raja Indradrumnan became Gajendra. And that Gajendra is all the time thinking about only Lord Vishnu. That's why finally when the crocodile plucked its thing, it threw the flower, no? Again there, it threw a flower, right? So, Gajendra can also have that bhakti. That's what that story is telling us. There is this Sri Kalahasti. The name of this city, Sri Kalahasti, come out of 3. Sri, Kala and Hasti. Sri is actually spider. Kala is the snake. Hasti is an elephant. There is a story in which all the 3 were given moksha. That's why that city, that Vayulinga, in Linga, you will find all the 3. Sri Kalahasti, that's why it's called Sri Kalahasti. So all these Puranas, for example, in Tiruvalayadal, in Madurai, 64 Leelas of Shiva, a crane was given, moksha. So every example that you see here, our Purana has actually talked about how all these creatures. But some time back, I received, on WhatsApp, so many things are coming, no? I received on WhatsApp. There is one cow in Gujarat, somewhere near Ahmedabad. I received that thing. Every day, that cow goes to a particular Shiva temple and it milches. It has bhakti. We may not know it. We may not be able to even understand it or appreciate it. Doesn't mean that they don't have. In God's scheme of things, Sakala Jiva Rashi has bhakti. And Shankaracharya is talking only about that. He is only saying it doesn't matter whether we are a human being or an animal or anything. Jata Bharata. The Bharata became, a deer. And he got moksha because Sada Bhagavad Chintanam. So we can keep on reading these stories. These stories are told to us only to reinforce this point that Shankaracharya is making here. That any Jiva Rashi, anything which has a chit, sat, chit and ananda, which a worm also has. Who said a worm does not have? We may not understand. Dog also has such. Dog is also Sachidananda. Because it is sentience, there is chit, there is sat, and there is ananda. We may not understand what it is. The trees have. Nowadays, trees have life. They also have feelings and experience. Everything. Science is also saying all that. So every entity which has sat, chit, and ananda can actually, lead moksha. Because it can focus its attention on the Lord. This is what he is saying here. Now, other important point here is we all must understand that what is running in our mind dictates what we are finally. Many things. What is running in our mind matters. And that matters until our last moment also. That only matters. That's why, Mukundamala, he says, Pranaprayana samaye kapavada pittehi kantavarodhanam smaranam kutaste. Not everybody is able to do it. So, Kulasekara Alvar says, I am praying right away. Because Pranaprayana samaye kapavada pittehi kantavarodhanam. They'll come and block all my passages. I may not be remembering you. So, I am doing the prayer now. You come and Vasatu Rajahamsa, he says, come and stay with me now, so that I will be relieved in the last moment. So the point is that in the previous shloka, he said, offer your manas. Now he is saying, what is that offering that manas? Offering that manas is our ability to constantly keep thinking about the Lord. That can be a memory resident program which can be running all the time. So many other things we can do. But at the back of our mind, this feeling must be there. That feeling of the Lord and should always be with us. That is the point he is trying to make. And if we make such an effort, then he says, Sada Tvat Padabja Smarana. So these are very important words here. The important words are Padabja Smarana. That's the first thing. That Hridaya, the Padara Vinda must be in our thought process. That's very, very important. And Sada. You should be there. It doesn't mean we have to stop doing everything. This has to happen somewhere at the background. It should keep happening. We should train. We should make an effort for it. We make an effort for it. That will be a constant thought. In addition to the constant thought, in the world of Vyavahara, we will keep doing what we need to do. It's not that we have to stop one and then do something. Kripananda Variyar, I remember long back, once I heard his one of the lecture. He says that when I am, those are days where you don't have, gas stove and electric and all that. He says, when I want hot water, I will have to put the, the wood, no? And he says, while the water is boiling, I will do Ramajapa. He said, why should I not do? When I can do two things at the same time. I will be preparing myself to get some hot water. In the meanwhile, I will also be Ramajam will be going in my mind. Like that he used to say. The same way, I think we have to do whatever we need to do in our life. But at the back of our mind, if there is, and these are all the prayers we can make to the Lord. Give me that kind of attitude to life. That's all we have to pray. Instead of praying, give me more money, I want transfer, I want this, I want many things we do. That's okay. But these are also equally important. If we can pray to the Lord, give me that capability that I should remember you all the time. While I am going ahead with my day-to-day activities and so on, I should remember you also all the time. If we can remember the Lord all the time, and if we can somehow develop that kind of a feeling a little bit, then prana prayana samaya, the antim moment, we will remember only the Lord. And that's all we need. That's why, there are very interesting stories. Shishupala was given moksha. Now the question is, why Shishupala was given? He was, exactly the opposite. He was against Krishna for everything. So in Bhakti, so many things are told. The fundamental principle in Bhakti is you should have Bhagavad Chintanam. Why is a different story? Shishupala was thinking only about Krishna all the time. 24/7, he was thinking for a wrong reason. But the very fact that he chose to think of Krishna all the time, Krishna delivered him finally. Moksha. So the crux there is to develop that constant thought. And Shishupala developed the constant thought to destroy him. But that doesn't matter. God is much more magnanimous than human beings. So they will not going to count like that. You remembered me all the time, I will deliver moksha to you. So that all these are very interesting concepts in bhakti. So therefore, that is what it is. Sada padabja smarama, smarana paramananda lahari is what is required, and that is what Acharya is saying. Therefore, he is saying, let us not worry about am I a human being or not. Of course, we are all human beings, so that is not the issue here. But the crux of the point is Sada Padabja Smarana Paramananda Lahari. That's what he is bringing through this sloka. He will go on now. The next sloka, he will say, even if you are a human being, you can be in any ashrama, you can do anything like that. He keeps on expanding this thought. Otherwise, we tend to say, I don't have time, I'm not supposed to do this. So many things can come. So the next shloka is on that, which we will see next week when we meet. I think we will stop here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om Shubharatri.